Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday, the 5th of April. So looking at the euro dollar first from this daily picture, and well, it's come back up yesterday. It did have a little bounce. It's just testing the, or tested the monthly pivot. Where from here? Well, from this picture, it looks at the moment that the monthly pivot is providing sound resistance. Now, if it does break this, I'm just looking whilst we're on this daily, if it was to break up through that pivot, you've then got the 8 and 21 sitting together, which may again provide some resistance. So any upside, it should be borne in mind, those resistant points. But there is still a weekly target above. Now that's we're into Wednesday, still hasn't been hit, still potentially could be hit. So we have got data out today which might start moving the pound. We'll have a look. Looking at the shorter time frames, 4 hourly, you can see the movement off this weekly pivot. Sorry, monthly pivot. And it's very consolidated down here. If anything, I'm really looking at this intermediate time frame. It's not quite caught the daily pivot, which is below us yet, but not far away from it. Sorry, it's very squidged up. There we go. It's not that far away from it. Would like to have seen that ticked off, but there are a couple of points. I mean, if it breaks the daily pivot there, I'd be looking at the short side, maybe down to this sort of mass yesterday around the S1 area. If it can break, there's a trend line that's running across the highs here. If that can break up to that way, well, it could be back on for the monthly pivot and maybe, as I say, the weekly pivot, but just be aware of the resistance on the way up there. Just need to see how it opens up. At the moment, as on this hourly picture, it does look a sort of bullish flag. We've seen this sort of double bottom. Did it actually diverge across those time frames? So it was diverging across that 4 hourly across those lows. So there is a potential we may have a basing pattern here a little bit. Okay, let's look at the pound dollar. So the pound dollar come off yesterday down to the monthly pivot there, and 50 MA seen a little bounce. Possibilities from this, maybe a push up. It's looking like he's just hand railing at the moment, just holding on to that monthly pivot. There's this idea, I'm getting some ideas from this. It's just come down to the intermediate hourly here, and you see this sort of pattern, this wedgy sort of pattern it's formed here now. Hasn't quite got the daily pivot, which is above. Break of that area, well, could see some further upside. It's not quite so nice and basey like the euro dollar. It's got this sort of monthly pivot holding up as support at the moment, and well, a break of that maybe will see us with further downside. Just coming back to this 4 hourly picture, and you see there's a whole lot of clutter with key moving averages above. There's still the 4 hourly 8, 21, 34 and 50, so any sort of upward movement is held back to some degree. Just pull it back out to the dailies again there, but I'm still wondering from the sort of picture I looked at, if it does break this monthly pivot, well then we're on probably for some more downside, maybe to back towards the lows of last week, and maybe a break of that just to confirm a lower high, but it's erring to me still on the weak side on cable. Dollar yen. The dollar yen still again, it's more erring on the weak side from this daily at the moment. We've got untouched monthly pivot still above us, but it's not particularly interested in that. It's just seen a bounce off its weekly S1 there. A break of this 21 sort of area may sit back up towards the weekly pivot. I wouldn't really want to be too much on the bullish side until it's broken those sort of levels. Otherwise, it's just going to get stalled. It's going to pull back, and it's going to be messy. It'll probably clearer if it can break that level. Maybe for the long side at some point, and I'm not saying necessarily today, but if it can break the back above that weekly pivot, it would be a clearer move if it was going to go towards that monthly, which it may well do at some time. But at the moment, it's erring more for me towards the downside. This pattern I'm seeing, yes, it's a sort of a bullish flag, but it's sort of broken. It's taken a bit too long, and maybe a break if there's a trend line that's sort of sitting across the lows here. A break of that trend line may see a break down towards the S1 and the previous lows. Okay, Aussie dollar. Let's have a look at the Aussie dollar here, and well, it's identified a bit of a Gartley pattern on the dailies here yesterday, which could see a bit more retracement. I mean, there is the potential for it to push back towards its prior highs with that pattern. It's done this ABC correction here as part of a Gartley. And at the moment, it is looking relatively bullish from that pattern. Just from the chart here, ignoring the pattern, well, a break of the 200 moving average may see it running off towards its monthly S1. But the pattern itself's holding at the moment. It's early stages. It's got some work to do, and it's like if you're in a trade. I know some of the guys entered the trade yesterday. But if you're sitting in the trade, there's potential points of adding small positions as it progresses, and maybe if it can break this trend line and push on up, could be one point that will help it at this stage. But target wise is if you do start looking, I mean, it's put this higher low in through the Asian session as well. If you can break that 50, that may be helping, and it may come along with that trend line. And then target wise, well, on the upside, it's got today, it's got its R1, maybe even that 200 moving average further up, which starts coming towards first exit targets. Okay, that's the Aussie dollar. Canadian dollar. Okay, so the Canadian dollar, I really didn't like this overall chop movement over the last couple of weeks, and it's not really helped too much. It's yesterday it pushed out of that range a little bit more with the help of a slightly weaker US dollar and slightly stronger US dollar, beg your pardon. But the oil price should be helping it, and it's not actually helping it at the moment. Oil price is sort of pushing back up, and it's well, so is the Canadian dollar against the US dollar here, and it's inverted, so it should be seeing more strength from this market at the moment. The 4-hourly maybe is, and it's giving it the signs it may roll over some more. But really, it just looks like a bull flag that we're seeing here, which could push up towards that. Which one's that? That's a monthly R1. Looking at the hourly here, hourly chart, we're just below that daily pivot. If it hits that and reacts to the downside, well, it could be back on for the hourly 50. Maybe then it could drop down and start moving southwards again, as you would expect from a stronger oil price. But at the moment, well, any break above it pushes it back to, and it'll look like it will run towards its R1, maybe into yesterday's highs. So early morning, it's not a clear picture on these currencies at the moment. I quite like this basing pattern on the euro dollar. It may look the best. Would have preferred it to hit that daily pivot, but if it starts breaking that trend, as I said, there's a trend line across the highs there. If it starts breaking that post 8 o'clock, well, that may be the picture, the move. The only thing with the euro at the moment is the range of points has been pretty slim overall. So even if that does occur, it's not a big mover. It's like 18, probably 17 pips, maybe 15 by the time you've got some sort of entry and spread out of it. So it's not a big mover. You can't get carried away with thinking, oh, I'll go for that one, thinking it's going to be a big mover. Right, that's that. Then news-wise today, so we've got services PMI this morning for the UK. That's at 9:30, key number, very key number for the UK, so we'll be watching that carefully, and that could knock all the technical analysis out of the water. At 1:15, we've got the ADP non-farm roll, employment change at 1:15. That we'd get volatility around more than anything else. I mean, last month I think we got a bit more of a kicker, but it was just before an expected increase in interest rates. This time it's going to have a slightly lesser effect, I'd have thought. And then in the US, we've got at 3 p.m. we've got the ISM non-manufacturing or services PMI coming out. Still key at 3 p.m. So volatility there. And for the Canadian dollar, more so at 3:30, we've got the crude oil inventories. So certainly some kickers in the afternoon. Moving into the evening, there's the FOMC minutes at 7 p.m. But as I said on the weekly updates of this, that whilst I expect some volatility around those minutes, the release, really realistically, all the members have spoken since then, so we know what the vote was, and we probably won't get too many surprises coming from it, but expect some volatility at that time anyway. That's it for me. Have a good day. Bye for now.